back to the new #1 morning show in Northwest Indiana. News, sports, education, and entertainment. Wake Up GI with Jeffrey Smith. Brought to you by the Gary Community Schools Corporation.
All right, everybody, we're back about a minute before the top of the hour. Let's round things off to the top of the hour. That's how we do it here on this show. We're a glass half full. That's what I was taught in school. But anyway, we have a great guest in studio today talking about one of my favorite subjects. And everybody knows the story ad nauseum. It's almost maybe been about 10 years ago or so when we first met. But we used to be in the same building and just having these little lunchtime conversations on the stairs or in the hallway about urban farming. And more importantly, the reason I always bring this story up is because, when you get an opportunity in your life to kind of see certain individuals that have this little quality, and it's a quality all of us should have, and that is when you're sitting here and you're talking about something, it's nothing more than a conversation. It's a word. It's an idea. And you watch the whole process of it becoming actually three-dimensional. It turns into something. An idea about, just growing a little, a couple of crops over outside of a building, outside of a church, turned into a place that has goats and horseback riding and internships and partnerships with university agriculture programs. It's really, really an amazing feat. And I just can't tell you enough just how impressive it is and how, I can honestly say I remember back when it was just an idea. And so we're very happy to have the proprietor and the founder. He has a wonderful team. He's a very humble guy, but I just remember this guy, Mr. Curtis Whittaker, and I call him a friend. I'm glad to have him in the studio. What's going on, my brother?
I'm doing well, my friend. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Awesome. Yeah. Always good to be with you on the show.
Yeah.
And to be with your listening audience, man.
Yeah, you heard me kind of tell the story. I know there's so much other stuff we want to cover, but remember when we were over at 47 and just having them conversations? And I just remember we used to talk about this because you used to pick my brain a little because I went to school obviously for an agricultural science. And I remember one day, after we had been talking for a while, you said, you know what? I kind of found this one guy, and I'm gonna drive and I'm gonna go talk to him.
Yep.
And I was like, wow.
Will Allen.
Yeah, I was like, okay, wow, that's kind of good. And then I remember you're like, guess what? I'm going back up there. And then it was a series of kind of efforts on your part in which you were making time. Because you were busy at the time. At the time, you were very integrated into your own accounting firm. And you were fully staffed. You had a lot of stuff going on. And you were taking time and doing this. Yeah. And then I just remember you came back and this guy had come back with you. And now you were speaking and you had identified some the land on your side. It was a whole thing. And I was just like, wow, man. And then look at where you are now.
Man, I'm just excited, man. Like you said, the 487 days down there on Broadway. You sounded like we were in school.
Yeah.
It was like we were in the hallways. And it sounded like we were in school.
It was an educational time.
It was, man. And I'm just excited that we've, through the grace of God, man, we've grown so far in what we're accomplishing. We're doing this not just for us.
Right.
Our goal is to build a bridge that we might not ever cross.
Right.
We're going to build this bridge, man, for those coming behind us who want to do this work, who don't even know this work exists.
Yeah.
And we want to get them engaged in this work.
And, I don't really sometimes, unless you kind of go to like when you've got everything operating on all cylinders, where I don't think people really just appreciate everything that's going on. I remember one time I went over there with you and there's Frida and, you had your students there. There is an educational component. It's not just, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, he's got goats there. And I'm talking about, let me tell you, there's a lot of animal husbandry that's going on there.
Yeah.
And what I mean is that animals are having children. And so they're kind of perpetuating the farm. It's operating totally on all levels like a fully functioning farm. And then there's that educational component because you've got students that are interacting with college students as well as high school age students. And they're learning not only about agriculture and growing things and a little bit of animal husbandry and zoology, they're also learning about, business management, just the whole thing. It's really an impressive thing that you all are doing.
Sister Frida, we need to craft Jeff
Yeah.
get him to come and be our spokesperson. I wish I can carry him around in my pocket. Zoology and all that other stuff. I need you in my pocket.
Yeah,
so I just pop you out and be like,
there you go.
Yeah,
but no, I'm serious though. I mean, when I was over there that one time this summer, remember Frida and then the baby goat, and I'm like, they're doing some animal husbandry here.
Yeah,
like I said, I never saw a goat or anything like that being born, or at least a newborn, until I got to Tuskegee, and I was paying to see that. But and so these young people really up close and personal. And in particular in our community, because once again, I always talk about the fact that I was a little fortunate that I wasn't a member of 4-H, but I remember going to a couple of their events, which are big time in Indiana. And that was one of the things that I always felt I was at a deficit when I went into studying agriculture, because I didn't grow up access to horses on a regular basis. I didn't necessarily know about feeding the goats and all this kind of stuff. But now these young kids, whether they go into this discipline or not, have it in their DNA, and you're helping giving it to them.
Yeah, we created a program, man. We call it New Ag.
Yeah.
New Ag stands for Next Urban Ag Generation.
Right.
I tell the story that I didn't grow up on a farm. People think you must have grown up on a farm. You had you did something with farming. I didn't know anything.
You're
about
a city
this.
boy as it gets. You're just doing it.
As it gets, man. And we got a call, a vision from God, I think, as we were sharing at 487 Broadway,
right,
to understand where our food comes from.
Right.
And that's how I got started in this. And when God calls you to it, you have to move in the vision that He calls you to. Didn't understand what it meant 10 years ago.
Right.
When we started really small with 3 raised beds.
That was it.
Didn't know what the heck we were doing. We grew between 2 abandoned buildings right next to the church, and but we grew a lot of food.
Right.
God blesses babies and foods, and we were some foods. So God blessed us.
Yeah.
Because we grew some stuff and had stuff the wrong way, all kind of stuff.
Oh, I mean.
And
then you turned in, and then I remember the first time when you started talking about, we're about to go get some livestock. You had gone out here and done your research.
We got some chickens, we got goats, we got ducks out there. You're exactly right. But that grew, as you mentioned, over the last 10 years now, man. We do some good stuff over there.
Right.
We got growing down on the farm that's happening. We're doing that with our hoop houses. So if you come by there, you'll see on 656 Carolina Street on the corner of 7th and Carolina, you'll see Faith Farms and Orchards. So you'll see when we started building those hoop houses, people are like, "What are y'all doing? Building a rocket ship?"
Exactly.
What you think is gonna happen? It's like, just wait and see. And so we got our last one last year.
Yeah.
It rolls up on the sides. It does everything.
It's amazing.
If it gets too hot in there, the sides roll up. Too cold, the sides roll down.
Right.
It's ventilated, and so we're about to do that. So we're growing now. We've been growing through the winter.
Exactly.
I was out there the other day. We have some spinach, some collards, some kale, some onions, some carrots growing in the ground. They got through the winter, and we got stuff out already, ready to go.
Look, we're talking with Curtis Whittaker, and of course, Ms. Frida's in studio as well, Faith Farm CDC, and my head's about to explode because it's just so much stuff going on. I remember going back once again, the conversation when all this was going on, and we used to use the word a lot, and you used to hear it in urban farming called food deserts, and that was making the case for this movement that was happening in inner cities and, just all this kind of stuff. Now, here's what I would put out there is that I would argue that now in 2024, as of March 15th, you all are on the other side of things. What I mean by that is, let me just explain. I think you all are leading what's going on now in this genre because, number one, more importantly, there is a very overt effort, and of course Big Pharma doesn't like it, but there is an overt effort to now start to link food with health. I mean, it's always been out there for the obvious reasons, but I'm talking about now with the rising drug costs, with a lot of it being inundated every single day. I always tell the story quickly. My wife and I, we watch TV, and every commercial, I'm always like, where's the healthy person in America? Because every commercial is for a pharmaceutical. And so there is a pushback to that. People are looking at their diet, they're exercising more, they're doing a little bit more of their homework, and they're finding that a lot of stuff is tied to the diet. Right. Now let's get to as far as this quote urban farming, which I just think now is about a grow your own food movement. Now people are over here doing stuff like using these canisters and all this kind of stuff growing for apartments and things like that. You've already surpassed that. This is you like 8 years ago. You all are now, as you said, the hoop houses. You have shown that in an outdoor environment in Northwest Indiana, in the Midwest part of this country, that you're not operating based on the temperate conditions that even some of the traditional farmers would be operating on. You are growing carrots and stuff like that year round. Yeah. So what I would assume is that now, while at the beginning you were going to Purdue and going to a lot of these places and gathering information, I would assume that at this point they're asking you about some of your data, are sending kids and sending some of their scholars to hang out with you to gather some of your data.
Jeff, we have a number of things that are happening. As you know, it all starts with food. It was about 3 or 4 years in, Sister Frida came along.
Right.
Sister Frida, you know, is a nurse.
Absolutely.
And she began to teach me about the connection and correlation between food and health, man. And just that.
Don't you see it with the animals now?
Well, yeah, with the animals too. But I'm talking more food as medicine.
Right.
And food is medicine. And so she began to tell me, Pastor, oregano is good for this, and this is good for this. And I'm like, okay. And we're growing all this stuff. And so how to utilize food. And if we utilize food, one, the first thing we have to do is have access.
Right.
That's the biggest piece. So if you ride around Gary, you won't find a Whole Foods in Gary.
Mm-mm.
All right. So our goal is to create a Hood Foods.
Right.
All right.
I like the name, but I would argue that you're still better than Whole Foods.
Yeah, it's Hood Food.
Yeah.
It's all grown. I call it Hood because it's all grown in the hood. Right. And so that's our goal, to get access, because you can't change your diet. You can't change. And I'm going to talk about the correlation and bring Sister Frida up. She's going to talk about the correlation between food and health, and this Food is Medicine program that she's the director of is just doing some amazing stuff.
Absolutely.
Still her thunder, but she then began to teach me about and talk to me about food and how one, having access to it, and then cooking it and utilizing it the right way is good for your health.
Yes.
And then we went on this journey, man. Ever since we started, you know, CJ, my son, he's 12 now.
Oh my
10
goodness.
Years ago, when he was 2, he was out there. He loves carrots, so he's out there. He would cry with Sister Frida when she wouldn't let him plant carrots.
You know what? You just raised a brother that grew up on a farm.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
So she would take him out there, and he'd have to go and grab the water and go water the plants and all of that stuff. And so we've been, our heart is with young people. We want anybody and everybody, because we don't know it all. I'll tell you that. There are folks who've been growing a long time, know a whole lot more than we do. And so we learn, we share information, and we learn from others. But we have a program with young people. I started to get into it earlier, called New Ag, Next Urban Ag Generation. Last summer, and your wife came out, and some students and others have come out. Last summer, we had 50 young people, man, from we got the statistics, 12 different high schools, 12 different schools, ages, last year it was 10 to 18. This year it's 6th graders to 12th graders.
Wow.
They can come out. We're going to start this program this year. Last year was 50. This year is 100. So we're looking for 100 young people. 6th grade, you can be going into the 6th grade next year. 6th grade to 12th grade.
Right.
All right. Last year, we had a curriculum, so we've developed our own curriculum.
You're good.
It's called the Junior Urban Master Producer.
And
the acronym for that is JUMP.
Okay.
Crisscross.
I see you.
Jump.
I see you.
Daddy Mac will make you.
Jump. There you go. There you go. Here comes that hood.
That's the hood food. That's the hood food. So but we got to be able to pour into our young people, right? And so they go through 8 weeks in the Junior Urban Master Producer program. Once they finish that 8 weeks, they start in April 6th this year. We got a great partnership with the Gary Public Library. We're going to be able to do all of our classes there. We're going to have 2 cohorts of 50. a 1.0 class for the beginners and a 2.0 class for the 50 from last year.
Right.
So they're going to be learning some awesome stuff over that 8 weeks. If they get through that 8 weeks, they become certified as junior urban master producers.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
After they become certified, the next 4 weeks, they'll have an internship. They get paid $15 an hour. They work 9 hours a week for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
They'll have one cohort working in June, one cohort working in July. The beautiful thing about this, man, is we connected with the USDA.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Somebody from the USDA, they graduate.
Mm-hmm.
All right, they graduate at the end of their 8 weeks. So June, the first Saturday in June is graduation. It'll be at the Art House. And we have a speaker from the USDA, Mr. Jerry Rayner, who will be here and speak to them. Now, Mr. Rayner is trying to get black folk in the USDA.
Right.
There are not enough of people who have been kissed by the sun in the USDA.
Wow.
And so he's asked, they have a program, it's the 1890 land grant, which you're probably very familiar with, going to Tuskegee, and it is a full ride scholarship. Room, board, tuition, the whole 9 yards, all paid for by the USDA.
By the USDA.
All right. Not only do they do that, and he told us we start with them as juniors in high school.
They do.
They start in junior high school. They get a job as a junior in high school. They get paid.
Right.
Internships, and when they're in college, all throughout the summer. And they end up, when they graduate, with a job with the USDA and the federal government. That's what we're looking to do with all the young people and the parents that want their child to go to school. So they can major in ag, go to school for free, have a job waiting on them when they get out of school.
I know a couple of people. No, you bring up Tuskegee. Absolutely, they were all around, because I didn't really know about that. We used to make some jokes with some people that were actually in vet school about you're going to school for veterinary medicine, what have you, but you're going out here working for the USDA, because there were people in vet school who were going to work directly to the USDA. So you're absolutely right about that.
Waiting on them when they
waiting
get
on
done,
them,
and that's our goal.
More likely in Arkansas or someplace.
Anywhere. It's all throughout the country. And so our goal and our goal now is to create that pipeline, right? To get them from the ground to graduate.
There's an academic component there.
It's a huge. So that's what we're doing with New Ag. We got about 10 young people that we sent to Mr. Rayner. He's going to talk to them and their parents about the program.
Wow.
And he's going to try to get all of them into this program this year. We're really excited about that.
Now, before we go, Ms. Free, tell us real quick, though, because I want the parents out here that are listening, tell us about how they get their scholars involved, please, because I want young people to understand that this is right here and taking advantage of it, because this is I didn't know this component. This is great. So how can a scholar qualify?
I am going to, so they can call our number 219-880-0850 and ask for information that they want to sign up for the New Ag program, NUAG, or this Tuesday, March 19th at 6:30 p.m. We're having an in-person meeting. It's our parent-student orientation, number 1, at Progressive Community Church, 656 Carolina Street. They can come there on this Tuesday, 6:30 p.m., and all of the information about the program will be shared. We have a program director, Dr. Tiffany Jamerson, will be there along with others, and they will share information. That's the first orientation or session. The second one is March the 30th at Progressive Community Church at 12 p.m.
Right.
And so they can come to one of those two. Space is going to be limited. So you better get there and be ready to sign up. Last year we had more students than slots. And I'm sure the same thing is going to happen this year.
Oh, absolutely.
They can come on out. And again, man, like I said, the young people last year, they just amazed me. They were being interviewed, and I'll turn it over. They were being interviewed by one of the local newspapers, and they were asking them, why are you here? none of them said we're here because we're being paid $15 an hour.
No.
They said we're learning, we're making friends, we're growing food, we're helping our community, we're advocating. And I was almost in tears just listening to them, because that is what it's about.
It is.
It's about pouring into them so that they can grow up and be advocates for, you mentioned the food desert. Gary is a food desert, but we don't have to.
No. And you bring up the kids. I had the pleasure of, kind of going over there last summer and speaking with them. And one thing that I saw is, and I want the parents of these scholars to understand, is that they're not out there. There's no minute that's wasted. They get a little downtime because sometimes it's hot, and all they're doing is grabbing a water and going to the next station. But you and Miss Frida, it keep them moving. And I've always said this. I don't have any kids, man. You can appreciate this though. Is that the one thing I think we've forgotten for a while, or some of us forget, is that kids, they do like to be challenged. I mean, the times when you really run up into a brick wall with young people is when they're kind of sitting around and you're letting them slack. But when you got kids out here being accountable to their time and things like that, you find that they check in very easily. Because I was shocked. I come over, I'm seeing all these kids moving in different directions. It was hot as you know what that day. You all had me come over there. And these kids were moving around, and you was in there telling the ones inside to go out there and go out. And there was no bag talk. There was no pushback. There was just a lot of smiles. Now, they were hot and tired, but they were there to do it. Nobody was trying to dip out. And so that's what I wanted to kind of emphasize, is that there wasn't a minute that's being wasted. So
they go to work, man.
They go to work.
This is work. They get $15 an hour. They gonna work. I got $4.10 when I was at Burger King, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, you get
$15 an hour, man. They gonna work, but it's we're teaching them about life.
Yeah, that's what it's
about. This is about life, and they get to learn that on the farm. And then the other thing, man, we got 2 other things that we're doing, and then I have Sister Frida come and talk about what she's over. We have another program. It's called Local Food Production and LFPA.
Yeah.
That program, we're looking for farmers. We're looking for black farmers.
There's a whole thing going on right now.
We have dollars that we can spend. So if you put something in the ground, you're a black farmer, you come and sign up for this program, we can buy your food from you.
Okay. All right.
We got 2 years on this grant to do that. So black farmers hit us up, and then finally we got a pod, a grow pod, a container farm that we're growing inside. It can grow up to 2 to 6 acres of food every year. It gives us the ability to grow indoors.
Yeah.
If you come to our campus at Progressive, you'll see it right behind the church. It looks like a shipping container.
Yeah.
But inside of that thing, I can control it from my phone.
Yeah.
And
see, that's what I'm talking about.
Growing,
look at you.
Man. Yeah. So that is huge. And then next week, we are opening. We're doing a ribbon cutting for our Faith Fresh Frozen. That's a partnership with Food Bank of Northwest Indiana. Shout out to Victor Garcia.
Yeah.
And Feeding America. And we've created a fresh frozen facility. This is a manufacturing facility.
Have you talked with, go ahead, finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, have you talked with Jennifer Okamura and all them at Meals on Wheels as well?
I have not.
We'll make that happen, because this would be great for you to partner with Meals on Wheels to make sure that we get some of these great opportunities for people who get this kind of stuff. They got, the chef over there, they got great, but this sounds great.
Sister Frida's going to talk to you about a similar Meals on Wheels
program. All right, well, bring Sister Frida on.
That's a great segue to have her come and talk about our Meals on Wheels program. And we ain't trying to do nothing to nobody. We're just trying to get people healthy. I think that's the goal.
That's the goal.
We're trying to partner and collaborate as best we can to get people healthy.
Yeah.
And that is what this is about. It is about food. It's about health. It's about medicine. And she's going to tell you about 2 programs that we're working right now that we're seeing tremendous results with. We're working with Indiana University School of Medicine, Indiana University School of Health, Indiana University SPIA School, partnering with us, man. We're about to do some crazy stuff.
Oh, look at you. I thought you were about to go off into a sermon. You start closing your eyes and stuff. You were going there, Curtis.
Man, almost had me there, man.
All right, let's go to Ms. Frida. First of all, welcome to the show. Great to see you. Always nice to see you doing your thing. But let's talk a little health. I don't know we don't have much time. Curtis got covered it all, but covered a lot. But I love talking with this food is medicine type of attitude, and you are absolutely a believer in it. So tell us about what's going on over at Faith Farm.
Absolutely. I was hoping Pastor Curtis would let me be a spectator.
Yeah, I know. I saw you over there. There's no way you were going to be here.
So good morning, and thank you for having me.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about 2 programs.
Okay, go ahead.
We have one through the Indiana Department of Health that is called Health Issues and Challenges.
Yes.
And it's a food is medicine program.
Right.
Focused on cardiovascular disease.
Oh.
So what happens with this program is you get a produce prescription.
Right.
And you take it to your physician or your nurse practitioner. Or some doctor's offices actually have them because I've been visiting doctors.
Okay.
And they put your diagnosis, your diet, and so on and so forth, and fax it back over to us.
And
then we can enroll you in the medically tailored, culturally relevant, heart healthy meals. You get them chef prepared.
Right.
Certified chef prepared.
I wanted to stop real quick because the word is culturally relevant.
Culturally relevant. What did she say?
That's what she said. I want to reiterate that it is culturally.
So you mean I'm getting collards?
Relevant.
I'm getting some collards.
It ain't got to be about collards. It's about how it tastes. Black folk have a certain taste they got to have the food that others who haven't been kissed by the sun don't understand. Some of them don't understand what that means to have culturally relevant. So you can have food that looks good to you and tastes good to you.
Okay, so we're not talking about potato salad, right? Because
even if it is potato salad,
you know what I'm talking about.
Culturally relevant.
You know what I'm talking about.
Raisins in it. I know what you're talking about. Potato salad with raisins in it. I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Culturally relevant meals.
Collars too, but they're going to be prepared in such a way that it still tastes good.
Right.
But it's
am I going to still have that pot liquor at the bottom?
You probably will not. But it's low cholesterol, low sodium, low carbohydrates.
Right.
But it tastes so fantastic the way he prepares it with all the fresh ingredients that you're not missing it.
Right.
You're not missing out.
Yeah.
So that's what that's 7 days a week they get that.
Right.
7 days a week they get that meal. We have 85 participants. At this time, we're starting to wind down our discharge.
Yes.
So we're at capacity.
Yeah.
But we have more in June. We open that cohort in June.
Okay. All right.
But the thing about that program is culturally relevant, heart healthy, medically tailored meals.
Right.
We are seeing so much progress on the blood pressures and the lab data and how they're losing weight and how this is turning their life around. We've had people that came in there, and these are testimonies that are given to us.
Okay.
We've had people that came in there that just tired and sick within 3 to 4 months because we're at our 6 month on some people.
Right.
They're walking with a pep in their step. They have nutrition education classes with movement included in those classes. Yeah. So it's all around a well-rounded program.
I like this.
But the thing with that is we just need to be able to, and we're working to get the data out to expand it. Because we're reaching 100 or so people, but there's thousands we need to reach.
No, I like
because
it.
Because we know what our disparities are, our health disparities in the Gary area and Northwest Indiana.
Yeah.
With the blood pressure and diabetes.
See, my whole thing, I was telling Curtis this at the beginning, of just, I guess looking at this from the outside, because I absolutely appreciate what you all are doing, and I get it as far as I just think that, as somebody who watches this thing in the big picture, you all are operating at such a high level that, I get the culturally significant part of it, but I would make the case that this is relevant to, this goes across all those lines. It really is. This is good Homo sapien health. And I think what you're doing is operating at a very high level. So I want my food to taste good. I want my
our participants are a little diverse now.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't want you all to limit yourself, because this is just amazing. Go ahead, Kurt.
Yeah. Everybody likes soul food.
Okay.
I don't care where you're from.
All right.
I don't care your ethnicity. Right. Everybody likes soul food. It ain't always the same the other way around.
Okay, I get you.
So that's why we're saying culturally relevant. because it really is. And we're seeing, because this is health, so I want to come back at some point once IU, and maybe have the IU School of Health and Medicine come on your show.
Yeah.
And they can fill you in on the results, because they are taking all of
they're
this
collecting
data,
the data
that we're getting, and they're about to put together a report that talks about how people's lives have been changed. Our prayer is that you can go to the doctor, and when they ask you that question, does anybody in your family have a history, that you can say no,
right,
for the next 7 generations.
You know what?
That's our goal.
I'm 100% behind this, because I've got my own little thing with Big Pharma. And the people that I'd love to get this data is the federal government. You know what I mean? You get what I mean? I'm not going to get into my little holy war against Big Pharma.
That's what they're doing, Jeff. Yeah. That's what IU's doing. They're going to put together a report that we can send to funders, and a report that we can send to our legislators.
Yeah.
So that our legislators. This grant we got is from Indiana Department of Health.
Okay.
So that's what we're trying to get more money.
Where's that Dr. Box and all them over?
In our community, we're trying to get more money, more funding in our community, because we see it works.
I agree. This is what's getting me frustrated.
It works.
Because I want to see more of this and less of when I came back. I remember from college, and I go and I'm going to, I'm staying at home, and I wasn't graduating. I just come to visit, and I'm going into my medicine cabinet for my father, and who, is a shell of himself at the time. He was very lethargic, and I see 14 prescription bottles. That will forever stick with me. You get what I'm saying? And so I don't want that. And I understand that industry is very adamant about keeping things operating like that. I want more of this.
We absolutely understand.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That was my mother as well. That was my mother. I'm sorry, my mother had a whole bag. Of prescription medication.
It drove me crazy. So we gotta wrap it up in just a bit. We got a couple more times.
I just want to make one point too. I don't want this to get lost.
Please.
Not only are we changing health disparity outcomes, but we're helping people economically.
Yes.
Those meals are saving people money that they can retake and reapply to groceries or bills or something. And then you're looking at that, when they're doing that, that's taking some of the stress off of them, and that's helping their mental health as well.
Do you see how far while you're operating at the top of the curve? Because you can't tell me you all don't look around and you don't see that people are now going into these kind of order meals that are more specified for them. You all, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You all, I remember.
That's why I need you in my pocket, man.
That's why I remember all these years behind.
You remember Penny Hardaway? He had Little Penny.
Little Penny.
So I need Little Jeff. I need Jeff in my pocket.
It's just so great and amazing to watch, because, as I said, you're not playing from behind anymore. You are leading the way in this idea. And it's an asset. Please.
We believe black folk, we smart.
There you go. That's why I bring you on the show.
It's smart. We're smart. We have integrity.
Can innovate.
We can manage money.
Yes.
Some people don't believe we can do that.
Yeah.
And so they come and they take all of the resources.
Yeah.
And then they try to provide us with the crumbs from the table.
Exactly.
And we want the table and the bread.
I like
the crumbs from the bread.
And
we want to be able to control it all.
Right, sustain and rebuild ourselves.
Yeah.
Sustain and rebuild our own communities. Man, we hired about 10 people.
Yes.
We got about 6 to 8 folks that are working on contract. This is about changing lives.
You're doing it, man.
Community, changing neighborhoods, and we can do it. We can do it, man. We really can. As a church, we can do it. As a community, if we come together, there ain't nothing we can do.
I agree. And before I let you go, I want you to give me the logistics, not in particular hours, because we talked about programming and things like that. But what about Joe Citizen, who wants to come over there and grab himself access to some of that great produce? And by the way, they got goat cheese out there. They're doing it all. There is a whole process that they're doing everything. And they're almost Amish the way they're acting over there. Go ahead, Tree.
That for me. If you need the produce prescription, you can pick it up at 656 Carolina. That is Monday through Friday, 9 to 2, R201 East 5th Avenue in Gary, Indiana. Our phone number is 219-880-0850.
Yeah.
And secondly, I want to make sure I touch on the produce prescription program.
Go ahead, please.
That is for coronary artery disease, diabetes, and gastrointestinal disorders.
Oh.
They get a produce box every other week for the produce and protein.
Right.
You get the nutrition education classes as well once a month with our nutrition educator, Shanae Watkins.
Right.
We have a certified chef that does cooking demonstrations.
Whoa.
So they take what's in the box. You say you don't know how to cook with avocado, or you don't know how to cook with this or that. He shows you how to cook a healthy meal. He takes the ingredients from the box.
Right.
And shows you how to cook.
Right
there at the art house.
Yeah.
Live cooking demonstration.
Yeah.
So all this is connected.
Yeah.
Connected, and particularly with the prescription boxes and the meals. Like I say, economically, that is helping a lot of people. We are food insecure, but it's helping some of the people with their food insecurity. 201 East 5th Avenue, our 656 Carolina.
Right.
Phone number is 219-880-0850.
Yeah.
You get that produce prescription, take it to your physician. Physician gets it back to us, and we do a survey and get you registered.
I like it. Look, once again, you two, just absolutely amazing stuff. We got to get you back, Chris, to just keep us in the loop, man, about what's going on. I want you also to plug your, just if you're out here looking for a spiritual home, you know what I'm saying? And you want to just kind of, please go out here and just give me a plug.
You're reading my mind.
There you go, bro. There you go, man.
Progressive Community Church, 656 Carolina Street, Gary, Indiana. God is on a mission, y'all. We're doing some awesome things for the kingdom of God and for His glory. It's not about us. It's all about Him. I'm a finance guy. I don't know nothing I didn't know anything about growing food or any of that.
Right.
So the stuff that we're doing, it's not because of me, it's because of Him. We're obedient to what He's called us to do. We have a vision that's so much more. It's our justice efforts. Jesus was about justice in every way. These are our justice initiatives: food justice, environmental justice, economic justice, and social justice.
Yeah.
So come and rock with us.
Absolutely.
In a minute. Our services are 9 o'clock a.m. on Sunday mornings, and then at noon and 6 o'clock we have our Bible study on Wednesdays.
And once again, the farm hours.
The farm out that will be officially opening on June.
Yeah.
But right now you can still purchase eggs.
Yes.
They are there from 9 to noon, Monday through Friday, and 9 to noon on Saturday.
All right, you two. You know what? Thank you very much, man. As we get into March and then you're starting to see the birds, everything's happening. It's a time for growing. This is a great way. This is a great way to get us going. And I want to thank you too, man, and wish you all the best and happy St. Patty's Day.
Thank you guys
all right.
for having us.
All right. We're going to get ready to